I don't have any arguments, by the way. I was
I'm,
curious what you guys think. That's normally what my position is. You explain why I should take any of the stuff you say seriously. But yeah, I still don't. What we believe and why we do this. So, you know, the only thing that's not, sorry, my brain is still a little bit melted from yesterday because those guys have a very dulling effect on the brain.
It's almost like they're not very smart.
The hardest part of this debate with Sitch and Adam was going to be that pretending that I don't know Adam is kind of a shitbag. It's, you know, these guys are bad faith and or stupid. I don't know. Again, just like these guys yesterday, they can't just interact on good faith. You know, it just seems like they can't, or whenever they try to, it doesn't go their way. So then they go, you know, in this obscene direction of like groomer and like, come the fuck on, man. The fucking nerve of these motherfuckers to say we're bad faith because they're not doing as well as they hoped they would when we're just, you know, kind of dismantling their points point by point. So I told Bob, I was like, because here's the thing about me. I can't hide when I think somebody's a piece of shit. All right, it's really, really hard for me to. That's why I didn't want to be on camera yesterday, I think, is part of it. Because I was sitting here like, you know, like these fucking angry faces that I didn't want them to know I was making. And so I can't hide when I think somebody's a shitty person or whatever. And I know too much about Adam to think that he's just like a good faith interlocutor. So I told Bob, I was like, you just let me know when it's okay to, you know, take the leash off.
Fine, I'll let you off the leash.
Because this whole time I'm going to be sitting there like this dishonest piece of shit. And then finally, whenever it got to that certain point where, I don't remember when it was exactly, but basically you could tell whenever I just started basically saying exactly what I think about him. Like, I remember when you came to my channel when I had like 300 subs, you were trying to start shit with me, offensive Ethan Van Sciver. Like, that's the shit I'd been wanting to say since the fucking first moment. And that's what he does. I wanted to let him know that I knew that what his MO is and how he operates. Adam Friended commented on the video just a couple of hours after I uploaded it. Adam has been stalking my channel since I only had a couple of hundred subs, presumably staking out potential threats to his grift and the grifts of the many grifters Adam co-grifts with and runs grift interference for.
Probably had grifter parents and grifter grandparents, and someday they're each going to spawn little grifter kids.
So like at the end of the debate once, you know, because you can ask Bob, I told him, I was like, the hardest part of this debate with Sitch and Adam was going to be that pretending that I don't know Adam is kind of a shitbag. Because like I really struggle with, if I don't like somebody, it's hard to hide it. You know what I mean? It's just gonna.
I'm sorry, you broke up there a little bit. Can you repeat that last bit?
Oh, if I really don't like somebody, I can't really hide it. Like if I kind of have just like decided, oh, you're a fucking shitty person, like I think you're terrible.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to just pretend like we're cool or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with him, I was like, Bob, just let me know when I can get off the leash.
A leash?
Man, because I'm gonna be sitting there chomping at the bit the whole time, pretending that I'm just like this is just an honest guy or something. Anyway, toward the end, I think actually the thing was, he said whatever we wanted to say before we left or whatever. And I was like, in general, I hope that this debate showed that we need to think about the words that we use and that other people use. And like when somebody says a word that you may take for granted, like woke, like what's really being expressed there? Are they expressing the same thing that you are receiving? And, you know, and so on and so forth. And I think that's just a starting point for how we could start to, I don't know, communicate better.
Sure. I mean, yeah.
Like maybe we're interested in looking at the other side and figuring out like essentially if there are any arguments. And essentially every time I look, no, there are no arguments. It's just pretty much just bigotry.
If I made a joke like that about woman, make me a sandwich on my channel, my audience knows my ethics. They broadly, I think, trust me as far as that stuff. So if I said it, they would know that I'm making fun of sexism of a sexist trope, not making a sexist joke, and there is a difference.
My closing statement was kind of incendiary, purposely. Essentially, I was saying, hey, I think there's an issue with the sexism and the racism, transphobia, and the homophobia.
Oh yeah.
Around. And then apparently that type of stuff doesn't bother you. And then he jumped on me for the racism thing. Like, that's the thing. I wanted to get him on the record on transphobia and homophobia too, because it seems like he doesn't have an issue with those as well. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen that one myself yet. But there's this one chick who's doing like 4-hour streams where she like draws out like the conversation in like this visual. It's crazy what's out there when it comes to that stuff.
Wait, of our conversation?
Yeah, your conversation on Adam and Sitch. It's fucking crazy.
Oh, I'm guessing she's not like a friendly person.
No,
right?
she's a fan of Adam. Yes, I believe she is, at least. Yeah.
He's yeah. I mean, he's a fucking dishonest shitbag.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, definitely that's what it comes down to, right?
Look at when Organized Chaos and I fucking debated Adam and Sitch and shit, and like that, they just couldn't wait to find a fucking way to, wedge groomer in there. It's fucking brain poison. Their brains are poisoned. I don't know. I don't know what to do about it.
I was saying, hey, I think there's an issue with the sexism and the racism, transphobia, and the homophobia.
Oh yeah.
Around. And then apparently that type of stuff doesn't bother you. And then he jumped on me for the racism thing. Like, that's the thing. I wanted to get him on the record on transphobia and homophobia too, because it seems like he doesn't have an issue with those as well. Maybe I'm wrong. But like, it seems like sexism is fine, but racism not fine. I'm like, why is one fine but the other one isn't? What are you going for here? What are you?
Yeah. It was just hilarious to me that he was like, "You piece of shit, you." And he said it like a couple of times, and then I said something. I got aggro for a minute, and like Sitch said, "Why are you so upset?" or whatever. I was like, "Because it's called my friend a piece of shit." And Sitch goes, "Yeah, okay, that's fair."
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, all right, you're defending your friend. I get why you're mad." And I actually kind of don't have a lot of respect for the guy, but there's a little smidge of respect in there somewhere for that. But he was trying to trigger me with groomer, but not for the reason you think. Are you defending a man? If you're going around calling people a groomer and you just don't have any kind of evidence or any reason to really think they're grooming children, you're a piece of shit. And you're undermining the actual fucking, child predation that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, there's
you're not going to catch any fucking... What?
There's actual criminal grooming that is actually happening. So when you just throw that term around, it makes it lose all meaning.
By the way, I just want to be clear here. Being a groomer is worse. This may be a hot take. I don't know. Maybe it'll get me canceled, but I think I kind of believe this. Being a groomer is worse than racism. As like, in terms of having some racist, ignorant views that you just haven't worked through, being a groomer is worse. And the fact that Adam Friended felt like us saying, "Oh, this person's saying racist stuff or being racist," is equivalent to him going, "Oh, are you a groomer?" He's a fucking moron. Or he's bad faith, or his ethics are fucked up, or he doesn't know what words mean or something like that. But to be a groomer is to intentionally, in the context they're talking about, is to intentionally, basically prey on a child to get them in the mentality, the mindset, in the position to do, stuff, or to do it for someone else, kind of like how Ghislaine Maxwell did. That is a groomer, and that is, just ethically way more fucked up than holding some bigoted notions. Now, if you want to talk about racism as like doing a hate crime, I don't know. Both of those are pretty fucked up. But in terms of just baseline ignorant biases, racism, no. Being a groomer is far worse. Maybe that's a hot take. I don't know. Yeah, so we went into this knowing about more or less what it was going to be like, and I feel like we were pretty right. As far as like bad faith, established bad faith, and trying to get a bad position. Not
Bingo
listening
card.
to our explanations for And that's because at least I have been fully aware of who Adam Friended is for a long time, as I finally revealed at the end. I can't wait to say that. This is what he does. He is a normalizer far right, basically a Tim Pool, where like it's like, I'm just the kind of regular bro, and I'm engaging with these ideas, and I think the left is kind of acting crazy, but he doesn't talk about the buddies in Comicsgate do.
Oh,
and the groomer, yeah.
Oh yeah, he kept on going back to the groomer thing. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude, you're such a piece of shit. Yeah, you're.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and I was, like I said to people privately before. Now I guess I can say it. I don't care. This was the first debate that I was kind of actually a little bit nervous about, and it's because of the fact that I'm well aware of how bad faith Adam Friended is. I was kind of pleasantly surprised with Sitch, although obviously his positions aren't much better or anything, but he at least can engage with ideas to a degree.
Okay, and I think we might be. Oh wait, can we just add him to this call?
Did you just add Reggie?
Yeah, he wanted in.
Okay.
But he does have to pick
this
up.
Is my black friend, guys.
Hey Reggie, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, you are very quiet. You are.
He's super quiet. Yeah.
Sorry. All right. Good. I have been one of the biggest vocal people talking about how Comicsgate and the Phantom Menace have racial sensibilities, how they are basically, I call them Republican ops. They kind of they espouse Republican beliefs in their reviews, their streams, and Adam Friended when I first saw him, I was like, oh God, no, because he is the one who really put Comicsgate on. He did streams with them. He talked with them. So he knows who they are. He knows what they do. So he's being very disingenuous to everyone. And I hate the fact that a lot of people are having discourse about wokeness, about CRT and all this stuff, and they're not talking to Black people. None of the chuds will talk to Black people unless they're Eric July.
I need to listen to that Adam and Sitch debate, because I think they got kind of frustrated with my final statement whenever I started talking about, y'all need to think about words that you're saying and hear. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. In the moment, it's hard to remember exactly how it all played out, but I felt like they started
to clip that too, because the second question was something about like, oh, well, what's your feeling about wokeness in Hollywood? I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I started going up there for the final statement.
No idea.
I was like, generally, guys, because the main thing we argued about for 2 hours was just what words mean, as a part of it anyway. And so that's why I was saying, like, guys, think about, be critical of the terms you're using. Don't just take these things for granted, man. What do you mean, Gray? Like, it sounds like is this like a troll type of thing?
Yeah, man, we're not really talking about that, Gray Poupe, so we're trying to stay on topic here. Right?
I'll get to it when I get to it, Yeah. From what I remember, sorry, I've read it, so I have to respond. From what I remember, it was mostly just them trying to pin us into a couple of positions, and in order to do so, they were, basically Sitch describing She-Hulk as having some kind of, subversive feminist messaging just because she talked about her experience as a human being. And then also he didn't seem to know what a character arc was, when yes, just a thing that is set up in one episode and followed up in another episode is part of the character arc. I don't know how you can deny that. So they're not honest guys. If you're trying to say they were honest guys, then I don't know what you mean. If you're trying to say that we lost or something, then
yeah, I think that's a suggestion. Oh, hey Tiamat, how are you doing? I think Tiamat's on that tip too. But you know what?
Well, I mean, it's like the thing is, we went in there knowing that there's no. what those guys do, and I told Bob before we went in, I was 100% right. They want to paint you into a certain position to make the left look crazy. That's their whole fucking goal, to like, to reduce you down to some position that is a straw man of something that is the craziest version of that thing that they can, get a meme out of.
To a caricature, basically.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it myself.
So, bad faith. Who's bad faith? You are, Adam and Sitch. I don't know if Sitch is, honestly. Sitch just might be way overconfident in his understanding of things, but like an arc is definitely not one thing that happens in the first episode. That's not an arc. That was part of an arc, and especially considering it was followed up on later in the season, She-Hulk. That is part of an arc, part of several story beats that were part of her arc. I don't know where you got your understanding.
I mean,
stories.
You can argue that maybe you don't think the arc was executed well. That's a 100% argument. Maybe you don't think it landed, but there is absolutely an arc there. And arguing that there isn't an arc there is just, it's insane. Like, it's right there. They're not hiding it.
You see the arc?
If you want to argue that like She-Hulk didn't execute the arc well, that's an argument. But arguing that no arc exists, it's like, no, there is an arc in that story. You may not like it.
And when I pointed it out to him, he's like, I don't agree.
God. Yeah.
He was like, that wasn't her arc. And I'm like, dude, it literally was. One thing happened in the first episode, and then in the next to last episode, a thing followed up on it. That is a fucking arc, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, no, like, Bruce is like, hey, we should train you so you don't go or rage out. And she's like, no, I have control of this. I'm not going to rage out. And then in an episode, she rages out. How is that not an arc?
Where's my arc, Paulie?
The debate we had yesterday, they were Sitch essentially said that he wants to censor certain types of stories because they have some vague element that might be loosely connected to something communist or something. In fact, here's the picture that I was looking for. This is a review of She-Hulk.
I can't stop laughing.
According to someone who learned everything they know about it from watching from PSA Sitch. And seriously, like, this is he wasn't even, this is barely even hyperbole. He was making the argument that because there's an element of feminism in it, which is, that's debatable. It's really just more like, hey, a woman's experience, if you want to call that feminism, whatever. But then because of that, it's connected to CRT, which is based in, and I don't think he got to the point, but I think it was insinuating that it's a Marxist philosophy, because that's what they like to do, because it contains elements of dialectical material analysis, which, yes, is the foundation of Marxism, but that's not the whole of Marxism. And like, it's insane. Yeah. I mean, just generally, they started off, they tried to tie us to every and any and all woke position that they wanted to. They had a hard time with that. And then whenever it got into specifics like She-Hulk, apparently just having a vaguely feminist, egalitarian perspective in the show is also CRT, and also the implication being it's Marxist and communist propaganda. It's, these guys are bad faith and or stupid. I don't know. I looked at that debate as they are part of the defense system that is built into the anti-fandom YouTube community. I've known about them since I started YouTube, basically. I've seen what they were for 3 years, that like, okay, at some point, if you get into debating these ideas, you're going to have to deal with these guys. And so it was just kind of a rite of passage in my view. Their understanding of CRT generally.
Okay.
And like, because CRT is essentially, it's basically intersectionality, more or less, just in it factors in the race of people. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make a judgment, and that's what they don't understand the difference between those. It's like, it's more the idea of equity, and they think that is also racism.
Yeah. No, I get where it's coming from, man. It's just like that whole fucking CRT debate is so fucking stupid and overwrought. I'm so sick of it.
I'm
sorry,
tell
man.
you guys are giving him way too much credit.
I got tired of the CRT thing watching She-Hulk, and that was pushing that Marxist shit in that show, man. Like, damn.
Yeah, there's so much Marxism. I don't know what Abram X
Shout out to
was thinking when
Sitch.
they were
What's up?
writing that.
Fucking Sitch.
Sitch in chat?
No, he was just I was referencing the debate where he was
okay. I haven't seen it yet.
And nothing else. And the fact,
and it creates this Dunning-Kruger effect where I've been in 5 debates now, and I'll just say I've won them all. I don't want to be like I've crushed them all, but I've won them all.
All these people think I lost. It kind of just reinforces my idea that I think I did pretty damn well.
Yeah. Yep. And as for yesterday, by the way, I think my feeling on how that went yesterday was it went about as well as I expected, maybe a little bit better.
Yeah.
But essentially, I know that their point is if they don't get a big reaction or a big conflict drama moment by the end of the debate, they're going to create one at the end of the debate. Mm-hmm. And we had, a couple moments, but then of course, by the end, or at the very end, and I think this is intentional too. I was thinking about it. I don't trust channels that bring somebody on for a discussion or debate and then read super chats while that guest is on. I don't trust that shit. Every time it seems like it's designed to bring up things that even if the people you're talking to didn't mention, somebody in their audience is going to, right? So like they didn't bring up the chunky monkey thing, did they?
Chunky monkey.
No.
Somebody in the audience did. But I mean, like that kind of thing. I think it's a kind of a shitbag, greasy way to avoid looking like the ones that are bringing up bullshit, but they're bringing it up anyway. Yeah, it's designed a power move. Yeah.
We are 2 days removed from Martin Luther King Day, where they keep talking about the first sentence of "I Have a Dream" speech, where people aren't judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. And like that's all they'll talk about with Martin Luther King, and it's just like the guy was for reparations. He was a fucking socialist, you maniacs.
Yeah, well, they've definitely painted over, a lot of us, and it's like they use that even in the wrong way, right? Like, it's to say that they'll say, oh, well, I don't judge. They should just judge people based on their character instead of we shouldn't even be. They essentially do the colorblind thing. Yeah. We're like, I'm colorblind, and it's like, well, it's not saying that you should never acknowledge the fucking tangible, pragmatic issues that people face, systemically due to their color. It's just saying don't judge a human being based on their color in a negative sense. Like it's they fucking pervert everything. So you got
the guy who said I'm black and I'm proud.
Yeah.
Earlier, somebody said that well, the right and left both do dumb shit.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, but it doesn't tell us anything. It doesn't get us to any. The reason
the ratio is a little heavy on one side.
Right. Yeah. It's typically said to dismiss what we're doing and to kind of like, and I just think it's either a poor analysis of situation or it's dishonest. I don't know. But yeah, we call that the enlightened centrist. And I think as time goes on, it becomes a little more clear, in my opinion, that centrism is not a viable position. I think that by having no position at all and seeing yourself as like, I'm just in the center of these two equally valid things or both equally invalid things, that you're like Rush said, if you decide not to make a choice, you still have made a choice. I'm sure you appreciate that, right, Bob?
You paraphrased it nicely, not quite right, but you.
Are you sure you guys aren't bullying people? No, I think I don't want to speak for Bob, but I do bully people. I bully people. I bully bullies, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah, that'd be about
proud.
it. And
yeah,
and
I go after
even
people
try to
who
go
have a
out my
long
way,
track record.
I don't want to send my fans after anybody. I want my fans to ignore these guys. I will go after them though, and I have no problem if they go after me. But yeah, I'd much rather have their focus on me than on the random people. Like I'm at 26,000 subscribers. It's not big, but it's bigger than most people. I can take more heat than most people. So go ahead, point your direction at me. Point your hate at me.
You are, dude. That's very astute of you. If you bully bullies, you are a bully. That's right. And I am proud to be a bully of bullies. But all bullying is not equal. But bullying is not like any type of bullying is bad, right? Like we're doing this the equivalent of in school. If you have a bully that's picking on you or whatever, or picking on all the little kids, and nobody will stand up to him, we're being the dude that says, you know what, fuck this. We may not be as strong or as powerful, as big as that kid, but somebody's got to stand up to him, right? And then we're going to keep doing that because they're not used to it, and they need to understand that this is yeah. Man, you need to work on some concepts or something. Your vocabulary, or your like. Do you know what power dynamics are, Patrick? Do you know what punching up versus punching down is? I would recommend looking into it. This stream isn't here to educate you on very, kind of basic foundational ethical principles and stuff like that, but you should look into it. Just recommendation.
Just how these people seem to treat it like, I guess we were seeing it from Adam and Sitch yesterday, how they're talking about how like they're bringing the white man down. And that's what they're talking about. Like somehow trans people are being raised above like normal white cis men. And it's not happening, people. It's not. All we are arguing for is equal rights, not greater, less than, just equal, flat out equal.
Then that means we will never get an honest conversation. And that's what I saw in that debate with Adam Friended and Sitch. They were not honest because, one, it's all super chats for them. And two, it's just, they won't talk to Black people because it doesn't say what they want.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, outside of Eric July, yeah, I don't see a whole, I don't think they'd want to talk to Black people in general with their views.
Yeah,
with their
can you imagine telling them telling a Black person to their face that like, no, actually, you're just kind of full of shit, or
yeah,
right.
You know
So
what I mean?
right.
You
so
don't.
wait. So I agree on one aspect, which is like, yes, having more diverse voices in academic fields and science and all these things is important because different people have different shared, lived experiences of reality. So I agree with that aspect of sort of how you were describing standpoint theory. My problem with standpoint theory more so is that that's not really what, I don't think that's really what it's about. What it's really about is a deeper attack on the production of knowledge itself. That's why it's standpoint epistemology, because at least when it was created in this feminist book I'm reading, and also when I read about in CRT, they're not just saying we need Black voices in fields of science. They're saying that the very fields of knowledge production via science, since they were created by white males that were probably bigoted in the 16, 17, 1800s, those ways of producing knowledge themselves are racist, are problematic. So we need to create our own ways of seeking knowledge. And that's kind of why there's this, in CRT, this sort of, well, we're a little bit skeptical of studies. We're more, about like people's lived experiences. And to me, that's a dangerous idea and a foolish idea.
So I'll give you dangerous. I don't know about foolish though. You know,